Welcome, nutritionradio.org listeners. This is Lonnie Lowry, a university nutrition professor of over 20 years and podcast host of long-running shows like Iron Radio. Come on in. Weight management tips. Hey, everybody. It's time for another weight management tip. By the way, the reason I don't say fat loss all the time is because weight management also entails weight gain. We're not going to talk about weight gain today necessarily. We're going to talk about different movements, right? How do you max out calorie burning? When you do your cardio, how do you max out your calorie burning? I'm not going to get into a deep dive about whether that's from carbs or fats as your fuel. That has a lot to do with the intensity of the exercise. But instead, this is about the movement pattern, right? What's the mode of exercise? I probably should have saved this for our Fitness Friday kind of theme day, but this is important stuff as far as weight management. Obviously, it's not just restricting at the mouth. So if we take a look at this, I didn't want to just go through the ACSM, the American College of Sports Medicine, metabolic calculations. It would bore you to death, calories per minute based on the angle of the treadmill and your body weight and that sort of thing. I'm just going to go to a couple of quasi-lay sources and just tell you what they have to say. Some of this stuff is coming out right now, May of 2023, if you're listening to this. But this is timeless stuff that you're going to basically hear really whenever. But let's start with the first question. Should you work out on a treadmill or exercise bike? Again, with a focus on maximum calorie burn. There's a piece from U.S. News and World Report from Elaine Howley and Katie Burke. Brand new stuff, and it just kind of gives a nice summary. We're going to focus on just one little portion of it. It says, for example, if you're running 5 or 6 miles per hour on a treadmill, you can expect to burn about 4 to 6 calories per minute. If you're cycling on a stationary bike, depending on resistance and speed, you can burn 3 to 6 calories per minute. This really underscores that classic, what I used to see bodybuilders do all the time. They'd get on a bike, and they would just pedal away, do their sort of fasted pre-breakfast, low-intensity cardio, trying to do a direct calorie burn. I don't totally disagree with that, of course, but they could be on a treadmill and be burning more calories. It's weight-bearing in a way that a bike is not. It says over an hour, those calories really add up, of course, explains Matt Camargo. He's a regional director of sports performance at a physical therapy clinic in Southern California. You can burn around 600 to 800 calories in an hour on a treadmill versus just 400 to 500 on a bike. So that makes total sense. So treadmill over bike in this case. Not to mention, treadmill is more natural as far as a walking movement. It's not identical to walking outside, but it's very close. Less local fatigue, for example, in the quads and that kind of thing if you get a little bit more intense. But what about ellipticals? This is actually my favorite because my joints are beat up and these are all low-impact kinds of things compared to running and pounding, especially if you weigh quite a bit like I do. But they looked at bike, rower, elliptical in an article a couple of years ago. Here's just a quick quote. Elliptical machines are ubiquitous in gyms around the country for a good reason. They burn up to 600 to 1,000 calories per hour. Obviously, that's based on a lot of little factors. But if we hold everything else constant, you're going to burn more calories on elliptical. You're involving your upper body. Like, for example, highest VO2 max, right, aerobic ability on record is from a cross-country skier at 98 mLs per kg per minute. I don't want to bore you, but I think that's also because it's not just lower body focused. That's obviously a lot of big musculature down there, but you're involving upper body and building mitochondria and aerobic ability and sort of local specific muscular changes by bringing your upper body into it, although you don't have to, right? They say ellipticals can isolate the lower body, or you can add in the upper body work with the arm handles, a good full body cardiovascular workout. This is accurate. I like these guys. I'm going to keep a tab on their work. Okay, next up we have indoor versus outdoor. Is it better to walk outside or use a treadmill? This is from Consumer Reports. I can tell you guys, over the years, I like Consumer Reports. They tell it like it is. I just like that they're not as influenced by corporate, money as a lot of other outlets. Is it better to walk outside or on a treadmill? Both burn calories, but nature offers extra benefits. This is from April 20th of 2015, so we're going back a little. But again, this is sort of timeless stuff. The laws of physics are not going to change. It says, is it better to walk on a treadmill versus outside? It says, if you're walking, the calorie burning and fitness benefits are about the same whether you're on a treadmill or in the great outdoors. This is accurate. You could find this in fact, there's a statement in the Catch and McCardle classic exercise physiology textbook. It's like 3 inches thick. They point that out as well. The calorie burn is very similar. It says, and the way your joints and hips move, very similar as well. There are a few differences, but I'm down with this. Suggesting the risk for injury is no greater on the treadmill versus a sidewalk or a walking trail, but strolling in nature through a leafy neighborhood or beside a beautiful lake or stream can do more than an indoor walk to boost your energy, reduce stress, depression, and negative emotions. We just talked about this on a Fitness Friday. In fact, just sort of validating that, I guess, here. It says researchers from the UK's University of Exeter and the University of Essex, they found these things after reviewing several recent studies. Again, less stress, depression, etc. Get outside if you can. It makes sense to me. And our last one, I know a lot of our hardcore listeners from Iron Radio are going to appreciate this one, cardio versus weights. There's a nice piece on Healthline from Grant Tinsley. Grant Tinsley is legitimate. He has a PhD. He's CSCS, right? He's a certified strength conditioning specialist. He's a member of the ISSN, like I am. Cardio versus weightlifting, which is better for weight loss. Let's just cut to the calorie burn. He's going to use a 160-pound person. So this would be a smaller guy, maybe a medium-sized woman. It says if you weigh 160 pounds, you will burn about 250 calories per 30 minutes of jogging at a moderate pace. If you were to run like faster, so instead of maybe 4 miles per hour or like a jog 5, if you run at 6 miles per hour, you would burn 365 calories in 30 minutes. So up a bit, right, from 250 to 365. On the other hand, if you weight trained for the same amount of time, you might only burn 130 to 220 calories. Now, that low end, 130, seems pretty low to me, but still, you're talking about at the most 220 calories, all else held similar. You're not going to burn quite as many calories in the gym. Now, this is the key, in the gym. If you build yourself to the point of muscular soreness, right, that delayed onset muscle soreness, DOMS, we talked about this in a recent episode, then you're burning calories all day long. Your resting metabolic rate might be, 10% higher because of that mild micro trauma, if you will. So if you're emphasizing the negatives, right, the lowering movements, the lengthening contractions, that's what really makes you sore, you're going to make up a little bit, or quite a bit of that loss that you might have had if you're just looking at a workout for a calorie burn. Clearly, resistance training has tons of benefits beyond just cardio. I don't have to go on about that to most of you guys. Strength and muscle mass, and as you build muscle mass, that's also an additional calorie burn, that kind of idea. But we do have to keep in mind that you're pausing between sets when you lift. It's not continuous like aerobic activity like you might see on elliptical or a treadmill. So there's your brief high-level but kind of ultimate guide on questions about max calorie burn when you want to do that sort of thing. I can tell you there's been times in my career where I was so focused on brief heavy lifting, I really let my aerobic base fall away, and I watched my body fat creep up and that sort of thing. But there's your weight management tip for the week. Please check us out on YouTube. It's Lawnman07 for the backup. Also, please leave a review on iTunes. I know some of you have. We lost those because of a technical glitch. That's why we're doing this whole season 1 thing. The format may change moving forward. I've said this before, but in no case will you not have the similar topics that you're getting here on a weekly basis. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time. The NutritionRadio.org podcast is for informational purposes only. If you're interested in starting a diet or exercise program, check with your physician, nutritionist, or qualified exercise physiologist in order to make the progress that you need.